All right, let's get fucking going, dude, because I'm missing out on a trade right now. So, first things first, up on the top left is my private team's trading journal. Anybody can get access at ascendantacademy.ca. Bottom left is my live account with Fusion Markets, regulated broker live account, Fusion Markets, and you will be able to see my live P&L down here. And then if I go down to my trading history, you guys can see it all. And it matches up with my journal up here. So you guys know I'm not fucking fluffing the numbers or anything like everybody else does. Um, so I kind of missed an entry on Bitcoin. Well, I didn't miss it, but it definitely looks healthy right now to get in for longs because my entry model is kind of showing off of this big support level right here on the 1 hour. So this is a big 1 hour support level. As you guys can clearly see, we rejected off of it a few times yesterday. And now today we're showing my entry model. So this would be the first touch. This would be the second touch right here, showing signs of rejections back up. So I'm very inclined to be longing this right now. But the only thing is we're starting to show resistance off of these little 5-minute structures here. So I would be jumping the gun, but it's possible we push down a little bit before we start pushing back up to get a better entry, especially since with Fusion Markets, you actually get there's like a spread. So it's possible that I could get wicked out if I take an entry right now. But either way, I personally think Bitcoin is going to have some kind of reaction at this point, like we did yesterday and the past couple days. So I think Bitcoin's probably going to rise, but further confirmations, if you want to be super safe, you could probably just wait for candle closes above this 5-minute structure here. But nonetheless, I do a top-down analysis of all my watch list right here. So I go down in the daily, go to the 1 hour, go to the 1 minute, and all of these little boxes right here are just major support resistance levels that I play off of. So obviously on US 30, we've had a massive rejection off of this big macro daily support resistance level. We broke through a couple more, and now we're starting to wick off of the top of this one, which is actually the ultimate highs. So the probability of us breaking through that is actually pretty low, especially since we tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times on 5 separate days, and we had yet to break through it. It's possible that we have enough buying pressure right now, though, to break through it. But overall, I do believe that we are probably going to go short here once we do find some kind of resistance up here. So that's what we'd be waiting for. And clearer signs because of this big wick right here. At 8 a.m., when I first logged onto the charts before I went to the gym or whatever, there was clear signs of my entry model right here for buys, but I didn't enter it because I'm at the point now where I don't really like entering trades unless I'm recording, or I guess now I'm going to be live streaming as well, just because it's a lot easy for people to say that you didn't actually take the trade if you're not recording it or whatever. And I could have taken this trade, but it's whatever. We would be healthy and profit right now. Realistically, I would have closed it at this support level. So the next thing I would be looking for on US 30 would be for signs of rejections back down off of the ultimate highs, which I have marked out here at the top. But moving on, Euro USD, let's see what's going on there. So we're probably going to be assuming the overall downtrend on the daily for the euro dollar. And you could say that this is just like a little flag in the overall uptrend, and then it's going to continue pushing up. I know my charts are super messy, but it is what it is. It works for me. But just know that like all of these marked out levels are just like support resistance levels. So I bet when we go down to the 1 hour, we're going to show signs of my entry model that you guys can all learn for free, either on the dashboard or on my YouTube channel. But I bet it's breaking above this support level, and it came back down for a retest, and now it's showing signs of rejections back up. Oh, never mind. We're not showing that at all. But either way, since we are breaking above this big support level, and since I'm looking for scalping positions, the thing I'd be looking for is for it to come back down for a retest and then continue pushing up. Considering that we are above this support level, and the most probable thing when price is trading above a support level is that it will use it as support. So if it comes back down and touches it, it'll reject off of it. Even if it is just like a little flag, like even if it is just like a little push up, like these little wicks right here, on the 5 minute, we can actually play off those for longs. So like even if we get like a little bounce like this off of it, we can play off of that and we can bank some profits. But also like since I am scalping with $400,000 on a live account, I can take advantage of those small micro price movements for like an actual gain. I don't know which you guys are trading with, but like let's say you're on a prop firm with 50K account, you guys can take advantage of that as well. So I would just be looking for it to come back down for a retest and then show signs of rejections back up, and then I would be inclined to go long. I'm probably wanting it to do something like this right now. So I'm going to set an alert for down here on Euro USD, and then I might as well set one for up here, because if it does continue to push up, we're probably going to have a massive spike down like we did prior. So on Solana, top-down analysis would be, I'm looking for longs, honestly, and that's pretty much it. Because, hold up one sec. I forgot to start my screen recording so I can make a YouTube video of this later. Anyways, so on the daily, we're spiking down to like a big macro daily support level on Solana. And if you've been following my live trading videos, I was in like a big investor trade over here. I held it for a month and I closed it over here. And then I re-entered on this little push up right here. And then we obviously got stopped out of it. But we've been consolidating in this price area for like the longest time, for like a few months on Solana. And obviously this is a major macro daily support resistance level. And now that we've been overall in a downtrend and we're starting to get a green candle close, that's usually a sign of the entire market actually reversing. So like if you look, when we're in like an overall downtrend on the daily, if we stop and get a green candle close on like a big macro daily support resistance level, the probability of it flagging off of it or reversing is pretty high. So like we've overall in a big downtrend right here, we got one green candle close to the upside and then it reversed for a flag. So that's exactly what's happening right now in the live market for Solana. We're in overall downtrend. We had a green candle close on the daily on a big macro daily support resistance level, as you guys can clearly see. So the probability of us having a little bit of a flag or this being the reversal point in general is pretty high. So I would be inclined to go long here on Solana if we start to show signs of rejections right now, which it kind of seems like we are, especially on the 5-minute. And matter of fact, like on Solana, this looks incredibly healthy to push up right now and fill up to this like a little 5-minute support resistance level. But we will check out Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the main determiner of what's happening in the crypto markets in general, because usually everything follows suit. So if Bitcoin's tanking, all the other crypto markets are tanking as well. And we're kind of in the same, we're doing the same thing on Bitcoin as we are with Solana, and I'm long bias. But the thing is, I have this level marked out on Bitcoin, which is a big macro resistance level, and we're currently trading below it, and we have 2 wicks off of it on the daily. So on the 1 hour, it kind of looks like we might be coming down off of it. But on the 5-minute, we're in like a little consolidation zone like we have been, or like that we are on Solana. So it's possible that this could be my entry model, like I was previously saying at the start of the stream, to go long here. But if you want to be conservative, you could wait for it to break out of here. And plus, since we're like in like a little consolidation zone right here, like it's honestly probably just going to bounce around until it finally breaks out to either the downside or the top side. So it's probably smart to wait for that to happen. But sometimes you got to lead the position, especially on crypto. Otherwise, the move will leave without you. So moving on to cable. We are shooting up. And we're starting to get to this prior key consolidation zone, the bottom of it. So if I move that over, if we break above in it, if we break into it and then do something like this, come back for a retest, and then it starts to show signs of rejections of continue to going, I would go long. But if we are doing what we're doing right now, it's possible that I could even take a FOMO entry off of this, or my regular entry on the 5 minute, because this would be the first touch, this would be the second touch. The next thing I'd be looking for is for another candle, a 5 minute candle close, especially if it closes below the most recent lows here. So in the next 5 minutes, if this candle closes red on cable, I might actually go short here for something like this for my FOMO entry. And then I would be aiming for it just to fill to the lows here, probably. I don't know. I usually just trail my stop once I go into profit a bit in $500 increments, because I am trading on a live account, and I would much rather lock in profits when I got them than say I hold a trade to full take profit, but that's just me. I think like a lot of people put trading stats like this on too much of a pedestal when they haven't even been funded before, or they're not trading live capital. I think it's just like a marketing ploy to get you to pay for like a course that keeps you unprofitable or doesn't teach you anything really. So I might go short on cable. USD CAD still healthy in an overall downtrend, which means it's good for my investor trade that I'm in. But honestly, I don't know if I'd want to trade this. The only thing I could think of right now is for it that it's going to assume the overall downtrend, but we kind of missed the move. The move would have been at like 5, 6 a.m. And I don't really feel like being risky and longing it here, even though it kind of looks like we are at a 1 hour support resistance level and we could have a flag up and we could play off of that. I just don't like doing that, especially this late in the session on FX pairs, because if you're trying to plan like a reversal trade this late into the session for FX pairs anyways, especially US based ones, there's probably not going to be much volatility because the volatility is probably all gone. But it does look incredibly healthy actually to go long here for USD CAD. I don't know, dude. That looks healthy too. It looks healthy to continue pushing up, especially if this candle closes green in the next couple minutes. You can do something like that. You know? Anyways, US 30. Let's see what's happening. So prior data tells us that if we break above here and then we start to show signs of rejections off of it, we're going to have a bit of a push up. And clearly we broke above it, and now we're going to be starting to show signs of rejections here. But the thing is, if we start to show signs of rejections off the midway point here and we go long, we have to have a pretty big position, because it's possible that the candle closes that gives us the sign to go long could be closing up here. And then we're just aiming for something like that, which is pretty risky, and I don't know if it would be worth it. It'd be like a momentum trade. But also, we could say that this is the first test of the ultimate highs. This is the second one, and now it's starting to break back down. The only thing I don't like is how we're starting to use this midway point I have marked out as support now. So the only thing I'm interested in right now would probably be Solana and Bitcoin to go long. More so Bitcoin though, because I like Bitcoin more, just because with Fusion Markets, they have a bigger spread for the Solana market than they do with Bitcoin. But I do think both seem pretty healthy to go long here, especially if we start to break above these prior 5 minute support resistance levels. So I'm going to set an alert for there. And we'll see if we can get in the long position on Bitcoin. Cable looks incredibly healthy. I'm actually going to take this cable trade, I think. And I'm going to take it with 50 seconds left on this candle, just because I think the position is going to get away from us if we don't lead the position just a little bit. which is fine. This is also a super risky trade to be taking just because we do have so much buying pressure right now, but it looks incredibly healthy to have some kind of reaction off the top here. And I think that's what we're getting right now. So I'm going to go short on cable right now. And we will see what happens. So I entered my position. My stops are above the most recent highs, so it's pretty tight. And then I just put my take profit over here. But if you have been watching my live trading videos, the probability of me honestly ever holding my trades to full take profit is pretty low, just because I like locking in profits since I am on a live account. So I can like actually withdraw the profits I make, and I don't give a fuck about stats. I care more about being able to withdraw the trades I'm getting. And so if we push down into like $1,000 profit, I'm going to be trailing my stop in $500 increments. And then if we continue pushing down into my analysis, I'll just trail it in $500 increments so I lock in something. So yeah, that's like the cool thing with trading is that you have to have like some kind of capital to initially take the position size that I am. And then you also have to front some of it on the risk part of it. But once you get good enough and once price starts pushing into your analysis more, you can actually eliminate the entire risk and actually lock in profits. So there's like no risk to you and you're locking in whatever you're locking in. And that's why I'm a firm believer of locking in profits. Just because like there's no point of not doing that, especially when you're trading with withdrawable capital, honestly. So there's been no sign of it breaking above yet on Bitcoin, but I do believe that we're going to go long here. The thing is that we would just be waiting to time it correctly for it to actually break above these highs. And I do not want to go long here and then have another flag down and then for it to come back up, which I feel like is a possibility since we're not breaking above it right now. So I'm going to wait for my alert to hit this. I'm going to put an alert down here as well, below the most recent 5-minute green candle. Just in case we do come down for another flag, I can look at it and then possibly get a better position. So let's look at cable. And then this is kind of just like the fun part about trading is like you just have to sit and watch now. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Dude, I'm such a noob with like OBS and stuff. So If anybody knows how to get my live chat up on my OBS, let me know because I can't see the chat, so I can't really respond to you guys. Maybe I'll just open up my stream on another window. I don't know. But yeah, I am in this short position on cable. And we did get an alert on Bitcoin. So honestly, if we get a candle close above this 5-minute structure here in the next 10 seconds, I might go long here and take a very risky trade, just playing off the momentum. And hopefully this is a reversal point for it to continue pushing up. So this would be my position on Bitcoin, which I'm going to take right now. It's pretty risky because I'm just playing off the momentum and hoping that it continues pushing up. But it's possible that it spikes down because we are still kind of floating at a 5-minute structure here. So if it does spike down, we could easily get stopped out, especially since I have a spread with future markets. So I'm in that position as well on Bitcoin. And then it's possible that I just get a quick entry or exit dependent if we get stopped out on Bitcoin too. So you guys can see both of my live P&L here for the cable trade and then the Bitcoin trade. So I will split screen that. So the left side will be the cable trade, the right side will be the Bitcoin trade, and then we will see what happens. So we're already getting a pretty big push up on Bitcoin. And since crypto in general is so volatile, like I said, like once it finally decides to pick a direction, it usually fucking goes. So it's possible that I cut the trade pretty early if we push into like $2,000 to $3,000 profit. I can hear my wife in the other room rustling about, so I'm going to go see what she's doing. So we're getting a bit of a bounce back down to be expected off of this level on Bitcoin. So like I said, this was a risky position on Bitcoin because we don't know if this was actually the turning point or if it's going to find resistance here and then spike down. But if we do have enough buying pressure, it's going to fucking fly and fill this price range up here. And then that's probably when I'm going to exit the position with a few $1,000s. The cable trade, the selling pressure kind of stopped. And the fact that we have a big wick here leads me to believe that this is just like this might have been the bottom of a flag in the overall downtrend before it continues to push back up. But we will see if the selling pressure continues on cable. It's going to look incredibly unhealthy for us, especially if we get 5 minute candle closes above this prior 5 minute support here that I have marked out. So if this candle closes green, or if the next couple candle closes green above here, we are probably going to get stopped out on the GU trade. And then also the Bitcoin trade seems like it's going to come back down and stop us out, because I feel like maybe we didn't time it correctly, and it's just going to come back down for a flag, spike us out, and then continue pushing up. But we will re-enter one of these trades if that happens, and everything else kinda isn't really moving that much. Solana, let's see what Solana's doing. So we just gotta hope that it actually finds. So we are probably going to get stopped out on the Bitcoin trade here in the next 5 minute candle, because we did close red below these little 5 minute wicks here. So I think maybe we are going to be coming back down before we decide to push up, or maybe this was just like the top of an overall bot or a downtrend wick. So this would be the bottom of it, the top of it, before it continues pushing all the way down on the higher time frames. But we'll see. We'll see if it wants to continue pushing up or not. For the Bitcoin trade, I was really hoping for like a quick impulsive move up over the next 10 minutes for it to come and close candles right here in this range. And then that's when I would exit the position. But we will see if it wants to do that. If it wants to have one last push up before coming down, if that's what it's going to do. Because if we do get another push up, it'll probably be fast, and then I'll exit the position. And then cable still has yet to break above this 5 minute support. So for the time being, still looks like the analysis is holding up on cable. And I'm still unsure about Bitcoin right now. What's up, dude? Yeah, the Bitcoin trade is super risky because I'm just playing off the upward momentum, if that's what we're getting now. But since we got stopped dead in our tracks, it's not looking favorable anymore. I was hoping for it, like I was hoping for like these two for the red candle and the current candle that we're on. I was hoping for it to continue the buying pressure and for it to be closing like up here. But since we aren't getting that, it's not looking too favorable to continue the buying pressure. But we'll see with the next few candles here. And then also with the cable trade, um, it's possible that this would have been our exit down here, but I missed it. So So it looks like we're getting a little bit of a push up on Bitcoin now. Hopefully it continues to break above these little wicks here and we get candle closes because that will make it seem more favorable to continue pushing up. But if we flip red here, then that's a clear indication, especially if we get another red candle close below here, that it's going to flip down and stop us out. And then it's just the opposite of that on the GU trade. Like if we flip green here and get candle closes above this 5 minute structure, then that's clear indication that this would have been our exit down here, and we probably should have exited with on the bottom right here instead of trying to wait it through. It's kind of funny how like right when I enter the positions, we just start consolidating on like both of the markets. It's not really what I like because it's risky to stay in that, especially when you're scalping. Because even if we did get the analysis correct, with this like weird consolidation chop, it's possible that we get spiked out before it continues the overall analysis on both of these markets, right? Like it could chop around before it goes back up, which I don't really like. I was really hoping for like impulsive moves down for both of them, or impulsive move up for Bitcoin and then impulsive move down on GU. But if we don't get a rejection back down here on GU, we will probably get stopped out of this one. And then if we don't start breaking up on Bitcoin, which it looks like we're not right now, then we're probably going to get stopped out of that one as well. So it looks like we're going to get stopped out of the Bitcoin trade here, which is very unfortunate because I thought this would be the big winner trade, but it seems like I timed the reversal incorrectly. But it's also possible that it's just coming down for a flag and then it's going to continue pushing up. But like I said, when we first broke above this 5-minute structure here, I was really hoping for like solid buying pressure that over the course of these candles that closed in consolidation, I was hoping that it would have closed up here. So, but if we don't get any signs of rejections back up here, we are more than likely going to get stopped out 100%. So we just got stopped out of the Bitcoin trade. Now the next thing I'd be waiting for is just for it to come back down for another retest. And then it's possible I re-enter it, especially if it starts to show signs of rejections back up again. I just really hope that I didn't, I just hope that it doesn't turn and flip green and then continue pushing. But it'll probably do that, honestly. We'll see though. So I'm going to set an alert for right here, and then I'm going to set an alert for right up the most recent structure here on Bitcoin. And it's possible I re-enter and then see if I can recoup that loss or go into it a little bit more or recoup a little bit of it at least. But like I said, this was a risky trade on Bitcoin just because we've had selling pressure throughout the entire day. So Euro USD looks like it's lining up for longs, but at the very least, it would be filling this to the retest high or to the next most significant support, which would be at the top here. So Euro USD looks healthy for buys, honestly. So I might take that as well, but I really want this to flip green on Bitcoin and then I'll re-enter that just because like the position size I would take on Euro USD, this trade would only be like probably $3,000-$4,000, whereas the one on Bitcoin could be pushing 10. All right, so I got my alert set up. I'm gonna probably go make another coffee and then I'll be right back. I entered another Bitcoin trade. If you could see, it's going to be a pretty tight stop loss. And if this Bitcoin trade doesn't work out, it's going to be my last trade of the day. I'm betting on this being like a flag down, and now it's going to come back up and rage up. That's what I'm hoping for anyways. But if it doesn't work out in our favor, that's going to be my last trade of the day. And it's going to be my second losing day of the month. It's going to be a pretty big losing day as well, considering I'm risking so much on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin trades anyways. So I'm already up like almost $3,000, and hopefully this buying pressure is what I was hoping for back here on the first initial Bitcoin trade. But we will see if it wants to be a stubborn bitch again at this level. But if we break above that level and start using it as support, very healthy to look like a $10,000 to $20,000 trade. Keep on pushing up, baby. Let's go. Sorry, I was in the fucking bathroom while I took this trade, so I couldn't really update you guys on it in real time. So hopefully we continue pushing up on the Bitcoin trade. And hopefully we get candle closes above here, and then we can cut it. It's possible I even cut this one. So we're up $7,000 already on the Bitcoin trade. And I think I timed the correct spot, because before I took this position because I thought this was the buying pressure we were going to have. But obviously that wasn't the case. We got stopped out, and then it came back down for a flag. And I think now is the buying pressure I was looking for. So I want to see this candle close above here in the next 2 minutes, above this little 5-minute support here, and then I'll trail my stop to lock in profits on it. Because right now we are currently down on the trading session. We're down $5,400, if you guys can see that. So we need at least a little bit more than that on this Bitcoin trade. But it looks like if it continues pushing up, it looks like we will get that. And then I think the GU trade is going to get stopped out. So realistically, we need like over $10,000 to be in the green for the day. And I really hope this is the buying pressure where it starts to rage up on this Bitcoin trade. And then if it does close above this 5-minute structure here, the next spot would be right here to be aiming for. But we just really, we need it to close above here in the next 50 seconds to confirm that this is the buying pressure we need for it to continue pushing up. But it looks like the GU trade, the cable trade, is going to get stopped out, which is unfortunate. So we didn't get a candle close above this spot, which is kind of a bad sign. It means that we might actually be finding resistance at this price area, and it might come back down for a flag, which I don't want to happen at all. But hopefully this next candle keeps on assuming the buying pressure and it keeps on pushing up. So we're up $7,000 now on the Bitcoin trade, $8,000. Hopefully it continues pushing up over the next couple 5-minute candles. And then I'll probably cut the trade because I think the GU trade is going to fail. It'll look very healthy for being long in the Bitcoin trade, especially if we get another 5-minute candle close above this little 5-minute support right here. And then if we do get that candle close, I'm actually going to I'm going to eliminate risk and trail my stop below this support level. But hopefully it doesn't flip right here, because it's just trying to figure out if it's going to make new highs or not, or if it's going to come back down, which we don't really want. What's up, dude? I'm really not liking how like the buying pressure just stopped at this little 5-minute structure here on Bitcoin, but hopefully it continues pushing up and breaks above the most recent wick and closes above this support level. That would be ideal. Oh. So there's the candle close green above the 5-minute support. I'm going to let this candle warm up a bit before I trail my stop below it, just because I don't want to set it too early, just in case it does want to come back down for a retest of the little support level. But if this candle closes green, if it comes down and then flips green, then I'm going to trail my stop and I'm going to set a take profit for probably around this red line. And then we'll see if it wants to fill that, if it wants to fill this price range. So it'll look incredibly healthy if it comes back down for a wick at the top of these wicks here, and then it flips green in the next few minutes. Man, the volatility is kind of like dead right now. We got an initial spike up, but then just nothing anymore on this Bitcoin trade. Same thing with like GU, the cable trade I entered. As soon as I entered, just volatility died. So this might be the flipping point of this candle, which it looks like it is. So if we start to push up above the most recent highs here, which would be right there, I'm going to trail my stop below here because that means that we are using this as a little support level in this little uptrend, which is good for us to trail our stop there because it's safe, because it's below a little support level. And we're also locking in profits, which I did take an initial loss on Bitcoin when I tried to buy it here and then it flagged down. But I think we timed the reversal area good on the second Bitcoin trade. So we're up $8,000 on this trade. If I were to cut this position right now and then also cut this GU trade, we would be up for the day. But we will see. I want to see what this next candle does on here. But I did trail my stop on the Bitcoin trade to lock in at the very least $4,000. So that eliminates my risk. And then my trailed stop is right here on the Bitcoin trade. And now we just kind of wait to see how much we can milk out of this Bitcoin trade since it's risk-free now. And at the very least, we're cutting into my initial $5,000 loss on the first Bitcoin trade. So we're getting a pretty big push up now, which I like to see. And since crypto is so volatile, I personally don't like giving back profits, especially since I'm actually on a live account. So I like to lock them in when I got them. So I'm going to trail my stop actually to lock in $8,500. So now my trailed stop looks something like this. So it's pretty tight. And considering we have a spread on Fusion Markets with Bitcoin as well, we could easily get stopped out, which we did there. So that was a pretty good trade for $8,500. So in total for the day now, with our first initial loss on Bitcoin, we're currently up $3,000. Now we just have to wait to see what happens with this trade, but I could cut it right now and still be up $1,000 for the day. And honestly, the Bitcoin trade does seem to be favorable to continue pushing up. But like I say this all the time, since I actually trade live capital, I would much rather lock in profits when I got them than have to give back profits I've already earned on my initial analysis by having to wait for it to flag down and then continue pushing up. Like I don't want to wait like that extra like hour, whatever it's going to take for that to happen. I would much rather get stopped out with the profits I got than have to wait for it to continue going, especially since I'm scalping. Obviously, the more exposure and the more time you're in a trade, the more likely you're going to lose the trade, right? Or that it's going to spike you out and hit stop loss. So the next thing we got to wait for is this GU trade. And honestly, if we start spiking down a little bit more, it's possible that I just cut it because we would be still up over $1,000 for the day. I'm going to journal the first two trades though, and then we'll just continue watching this one. So there's like no more volatility on the cable trade, and it's because it's like a few hours after New York. So especially like trying to time a reversal trade this late into the session is pretty. It's to be expected that volatility will die down, especially since we're like 4 hours after New York open on a US based FX pair. Like, I don't really want to wait to see what happens with this trade because I feel like I missed my exit. Like when I first entered the cable trade, we had this initial push down, and it kind of looks like it's just the bottom of the flag and this overall downtrend before it continues pushing up. So I think I should have exited then, but I missed it. And ever since then, I've just been dealing with this kind of chop around. And I was hoping that while it chops back up, it would be able to chop back to break even so I could exit with a break even trade. But it seems like it's not going to be doing that anytime soon. But hopefully, it finds some kind of resistance here and it continues pushing down so we can at least exit with a few $100s just because I personally don't want to wait for this to play out really, especially since right now we're up $3,000. So having to wait for this trade is just time consuming, especially since I have other commitments in my life. Like I own 6 prop firms, so I got shit to be doing. All right, there's like no volatility, so I'm fucking cutting it. I don't care about the loss. Um, you guys can see me on my screen recording too. So here's my trading journal. Here's the amount of trades. It's a little fucky because you can't really see it with the chat support thing right here. But there's the first trade, the first loss, $5,400. And then the cable trade right here, $1,700. And then the Bitcoin trade for $8,500 profit. And then here's my trading journal so that you guys can see that it's all matches up with everything, my trading history, and then we're on a live account with Fusion Markets. So there's no other trader that would ever show you guys their trading history or their trading journal or actually show you that they're on a live account with a regulated broker. So for the day, it's going to be $1,300 profit. So I'm going to journal this last trade and then I'm going to break down them all for you guys one last time. So the first trade was this Bitcoin buy. It was the first initial one, which would have been not that one, this one. So on the daily for Bitcoin, we were tanking down, but then we started to show signs of rejections off of this big macro daily support resistance level. And on the 1 hour, we started to show signs of rejections off of this one as well. So that is why I was looking for longs at this position, because if you're trading above a big time frame support or resistance level, the probability of it having some kind of reaction, even if it is just a little flag, there's going to be some kind of reaction towards it. And as scalpers, you can take advantage of that reaction. So off the 5 minute, once we started to show signs of rejections back up, I could have entered down here, but I held the trigger because I wanted to see it break above this level first, above these 5 minute structures. And when it finally did, that's when I initially went long, but we didn't break above these 5 minute wicks. And then that's what started the reaction for a flag back down. So we got stopped out for negative $5,000 off of that one. And then for the second Bitcoin trade, I took it once we started to show signs that this was just a little flag in the overall uptrend. I took it right there after we broke above the 5 minute support resistance level again. And I didn't wait for the candle to close, and it's a good thing I didn't wait for the candle to close on my entry. Otherwise, we would have missed like half the position. So I entered it down here, and then we had an impulsive move up for the next few candles. Then I trailed my stop pretty aggressively to lock in $8,500 on it. That put us ahead for the day. And then the cable trade was being a stubborn bitch because we were starting to show signs of rejections off of this big macro daily support resistance level that we had prior rejections off of. But on the 5 minute, we started to show signs of my entry model, which this would have been the first touch. This would have been the second retest, showing signs of rejections back down with 2 candle closes. So that's when I entered, and we initially spiked down into just over $1,000 profit. I didn't cut the trade there because I thought it would continue the overall momentum, but I usually trail my stop in $500 increments because I trade live account and live capital, and I'd much rather lock in profits than have to wait through a flag like this. And then if it does start to come back down, then I would much rather get stopped out for like $500 profit or whatever than have to wait through that. And I just got impatient with the overall trade because I didn't want to wait to see what happens. And if I were to close the trade at $1,700, we would still be up for the day for $1,392. So for the week so far, we've had 3 green days, 1 red day. So I'm thinking hopefully tomorrow we will get this back and come out on top for the week. But for the month of January, we're up $35,000. And December, we only had 1 red day as well. And then January, we only had 1 red day too. So we will see what happens tomorrow if we can recoup the rest of this and hopefully either come out at break even for the week or at the very least come out on top. Hopefully. That's what I want anyways. Anyways, if you guys like this, make sure you guys like and then subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.